It was like the army. You followed orders, you did the right thing, you got rewarded.
Some of the greatest films follow characters whose journeys span many years.
Where are we gonna go but up?
But as filmmaking has evolved, so too have the tools filmmakers use to show characters aging and de-aging.
You're right, Mr. Morgan.
As filmmaking techniques have grown to include not just makeup and costumes, but also digital technology, so has the need for innovations that ensure the integrity of actors' performances at any age shown on screen. Together, Martin Scorsese and his production crew, Netflix and ILM, have teamed up on The Irishman to push the boundaries of this visual effects process.
The film takes place from 1949 to 2000, and it goes back and forth in time continuously. Problem is, by the time I was ready to make the film, Bob De Niro and Al Pacino and Pesci could no longer play these characters younger in makeup. And when I looked at the script, it turned out that, it means I make half the film with Bob. Why do it? I was shooting Silence in Taiwan, and Pablo of ILM came up to me and said, I think I could make them look younger. And I said, I don't know. I can't have the actors talking to each other with golf balls on their faces. It maybe gets in the way with the actors, and the kind of film this is, they need to play off each other. I said, if you could find a way to lessen the technical aspects of it, that could work.
So I just kind of took a breath and I said, we'll develop the technology. I got on the phone with ILM and I said, I got the project. The first thing that Dennis Muren said to me is, this is too risky, don't do it.
Right.
I said, well, this is the way you felt when you did Jurassic Park. And he just went like, okay, fine, you got me there.
I'm Rob Grado. I'm the executive creative director and the head of Industrial Light and Magic. To get to partner with Netflix and take a risk on creating that technology while we're making the film is the kind of thing ILM kind of lives for.
There have been many movies that have de-aged over the years, but this one really where it's front and center as part of the storytelling.
We are used to difficult projects here at ILM, but on this one we have to take to the next level the performance capture, the lighting acquisition, and the set scanning because we need way more accuracy than ever before.
The challenge of creating compelling and believable digital humans is really the holy grail of visual effects.
My name is Paul Giacopo, and I was the digital character model supervisor for Irishman. It was important to us that this process not interfere with the acting or directing in any way.
Knowing that, we decided, what if we can come up with a system that actually captures the performance and doesn't touch anything else? Only way to convince anybody that this could be done is to do a test. I said, why don't we shoot a scene that we all know that will ground us into the ages that we want for the movie?
In New York on that test shoot, Bob came out and got into character, got in front of the camera, started reenacting this scene from Goodfellas.
You're gonna get us all pinched. Is that what you want? Get that fucking mink coat off her right now. You're gonna get us all pinched. Is that what you want? Get that fucking mink coat off her right now.
Everyone was completely silent, just in awe watching him reproduce the scene. Then, all of a sudden, we heard booming laughter, and everyone got super nervous. Oh my God, someone's in big trouble. And all of a sudden, Marty popped up from behind the monitors, and it was exclaiming, "It's just like it was 25 years ago."
When you came into Netflix and you presented that test, that first opportunity, I remember before you walked in the meeting, I was very sort of doubtful, obviously, the fact that it could be done.
We found with the tests that we did, it really was possible.
So we immediately divided into two groups. One that was developing the camera system and the capture itself, and the other one that kept working on the software.
One thing that was very important was that Marty would not feel restricted in any way in the way he shot this film because of the technology.
To do that, we developed this new rig, which is the camera surrounded by two what we call witness cameras, which are infrared cameras. And so if you were to take a look at those infrared images, what you would see is that there is no shadows. Every one of the cameras is giving you a different point of view of that specific performance. And the more point of views you have, the better your 3D translation.
It's great.
We shot a lot of the movie with 2 and sometimes 3 cameras simultaneously at least. With the complication of this technology, we had to test different rigs, different materials, cables to figure out how to make a rig with 3 cameras that you could operate. Super balanced.
We designed it to be rigid, but at the same time allow us the flexibility to pan and tilt each of the cameras independently.
It was called a three-headed monster. It didn't look like a monster to me, though. It was kind of nice. 3 sets of different videos and people. I just trying to deal with the actors.
The biggest challenge, I think, was to try to distill what their younger selves looked like in this film.
See if I can give you a hand.
We spent about 2 years researching footage for the 3 actors.
ILM downloaded a ton of their films so that we could study and research them and take screen grabs and just collect this huge library of their work.
We went through an entire library of scenes extracted from all of their past films across a spectrum of ages. We realized that there was no one stereotypical Robert De Niro. There was no one idealized Joe Pesci.
They bring something to the performance that changes the way they look.
So we needed to actually come up with what was their persona for this movie. For instance, Robert De Niro is around mid-30s when he was in like Taxi Driver and Deer Hunter, 2 very iconic roles for him. And even if you look at him in those movies, he looks slightly different. He took on a persona for each of those movies.
Keep in mind that we're not looking to recreate younger versions of the actors, but rather new creations that are younger versions of the characters.
What the fuck is this?
It's empty.
I know it is. I know it is.
A big point of discovery for us was to learn about how each actor's face performed and how they used the anatomy of expression to create the characters that they were playing.
From working with Marty, I knew it was going to be a very extensive and long movie, and so we knew we were going to have 1,700 shots.
Everything was about performance. So we had to be incredibly meticulous about preserving every detail of each of the actors.
We didn't use our traditional animation pipeline, so we didn't have animators basically recreating the performance of the actors in the film.
My name is Douglas Moore. I'm a layout supervisor here at ILM. One of the very first things as part of this process was using our technology called Medusa. We did a Medusa capture of Robert De Niro, Pacino, and Pesci. And what that is had them sitting in a chair, and they'd go through a series of expressions that we call the FACS expressions. And from that, we would generate a series of models that can move then from one expression to another. What the software then would do would solve the way the animation, those shapes would blend together on a particular frame.
Software is called Flux. The F stands for facial, and Lux is for the lighting component of it. With Flux, what we were trying to do is we were trying to capture the facial performance of the actors. We would take the images that were shot on set and we would use our tool to analyze the performance in order to create a 3D model of what was shot on set.
Flux, it's able to see how this face is shaded and how the lighting is hitting it and capture the subtle nuances, a little twitch here, a little wrinkle up in the nose, actually generate a lot of detail directly from the plate.
Whenever our faces are moving or emoting or stuff, there's a lot going on that as humans, our eyes and our brains know about, but we ourselves don't actually really think about. As your muscles move in your face and contract and relax, you're actually changing how blood flows through your face. And it's something that we had to work into our assets so that when they were actually talking and emoting, there was some life to their face that we wouldn't have had otherwise.
We also studied many details like the pores of the skin, the way light scatters through skin, details like De Niro's classic mole, that characteristic feature. And each one of them, we tried to create their most realistic younger self according to every piece of information and photographic and filmic evidence we could find.
Not being required for an actor to wear all this bulky gear and things that distract really the performance, I think that means that technology is a game changer for this kind of movie.
And everybody's going to appreciate it. It's a good thing.
It becomes a matter of taking all of these different tools in our pipeline and putting them together to solve these facial performances, and then also take these solved facial performances and put them on our younger selves.
The retargeting part. Oh, damn, it's so difficult. The camera is making sense out of the pixels that it sees and the lighting and the texture and the infrared light and, you know, it's all kinds of, you know, a bunch of calculations. Then you take that and you make it look like a younger person. There's all kinds of different things going on there where you actually design the character, you pick up what's important, what is not, you know, what you want that behavioral likeness to be. Right. And that is, like I said, it's not a math problem, it's an imagination problem.
If we'd had to do this all work by hand, there's no way we could have done it to the level of detail that we did. Because an animator isn't going to get all the detail that we were able to get from these tools. There was not an animator on this show. We had the Flux team, and that was really it.
With this new system, we were trying different disciplines of people. We started thinking, well, what is this similar to? It is very technical, so we pulled in creature TDs, the layout artists, effects artists that normally do particle sim, and they all brought something different to it.
The first reaction is like, what? So what am I looking at?
There's a lot of details that hopefully, if we've done our work well, will be invisible.
When you actually get them in a shot and you finally see them moving and talking and acting, and it works, it's just an amazing feeling.
It's a treat to know that what we're producing is something that is not only just real recreation of the moment and the scene and the motion, but yeah, that somebody like Martin Scorsese can look at that and say, yeah, this is what I was looking for. This is what I was going for. This is the Robert De Niro young version that I remember.
I think it's the first time this kind of thing is done for this type of narrative film, this type of character film.
I think this is going to be another one of those things that really does change the way films can be approached and the way actors can play themselves at different ages in a way that just wasn't possible before.
I think I would want this to be a referendum on technology. If after they see this movie, a bunch of actors say, you know what? I'm not wearing any markers.
Right.
Why do I have to wear markers? Or why do I have to be in an environment where it's not conducted to my job, my performance? That is the achievement that we want to portray.
No one has taken audiences on a journey quite like Martin Scorsese with The Irishman. But as with every innovation in film, the technology is only as powerful as the performances that push the story forward. And this story can be felt in every frame.